Georgia left absolutely zero doubt yesterday as they handled Florida. Final score was 43-20 Dawgs in Jacksonville. There's a lot to unpack with this one because this was a spot now where there was a lot of questions around how Georgia would respond to their circumstances. Hey, no Brock Bowers. Hey, Georgia's kind of started slow all year. Florida's been playing pretty well as of late. What's Georgia going to do? Well, Georgia did what Georgia's going to do. We'll talk about it right now because it feels like they're starting to catch their tempo. They're going to be dangerous here come November like we thought they would. Georgia Bulldog fans, had a lot of y'all subscribe to this very channel and be a part of what we're doing here. If you have not yet subscribed, now's the time. Want y'all a part of this. Your Dogs have got the most intense stretch of their schedule about to get rolling. We're going to predict all the games. We're going to give you the analysis, give you our thoughts. We're going to talk a lot about it, so make sure you're dialed in right here. Make sure you're subscribed. Second piece of that, make sure you're following me on Instagram and on Twitter at JD Piquel. Best way for us to interact when we're not on the air over here, live 3 times a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern. Now, with that out of the way, just like I was saying, this really felt like a signature Kirby Smart Georgia Bulldog kind of game. All the external circumstances swirling around this team and what they wouldn't do, what they had going against them. Like I said, no Brock Bowers. I said it during the week. This is the biggest spot for this Georgia team to this point in their season. Yes, Auburn was a big spot for them at Jordan-Hare. I understand that. Yes, the game against Kentucky, ranked football team, it was in Athens. I understand that. But this spot, with the way that Florida had been playing, and with what Georgia didn't have offensively, and that Avenger wearing number 19 that plays tight end for them. This was a very, I don't want to say losable game because that feels a little bit generous based on how this game went. But Florida posed a real threat to Georgia in this spot, and Georgia handled business. A lot of talking on the outside, and Georgia did what Georgia does and talked a lot with their pads. A couple of takeaways, they got after Florida on defense. You can get after someone when you trust your matchups on the second and third level. And that was exactly what Georgia did. I think they're the best matchup football team in the entire country. Because when I trust my third level of my defense to hold it down in the passing game, I can be a little bit more aggressive with that front seven. I can try and get after Graham Mertz, and they did exactly that. When it comes to the offensive side of the ball, Brock Bowers, not in the lineup. We talked about it. How are they going to step up? Well, I think there was kind of this perception going into this game that just because Brock Bowers wasn't playing, Georgia didn't have playmakers. And that was kind of a thought that I think some people had early in the year that we were kind of slow to get on board with, that if Brock Bowers didn't play against Auburn, they would have lost that football game. Well, I think it would have looked different with how they went about their business in that game. And I don't mean to reach too far back in the past right now, but just because Brock Bowers was the one making those plays in that spot doesn't mean Georgia wouldn't have had somebody step up in that spot and make those same kind of plays. Now, they're not Brock Bowers kind of plays, but you hear what I'm saying. Just because they didn't have Brock Bowers in the lineup doesn't mean they didn't have playmakers, and they proved that yesterday. Ladd McConkey now starting to get back healthy. He did his thing. Dominique Lovett, he did his thing. Daijun Edwards got downhill like it was nobody's business. I'll say this, great teams, and we've seen this from Georgia now the last couple of years, that are able to lean on their big boys up front and give it to their backs. And that's exactly what they did. 15 carries, 96 yards, 6.4 yards a carry, 2 touchdowns for Daijun Edwards. This was a different maneuver from this Georgia offense, because we think of the brand of Georgia, we think of physical in the trenches, we think of moving the line of scrimmage, and that's true about them. But coming into this game, Georgia leaned a little bit more on the pass. Georgia was throwing it 37 times a game. So it wasn't like this was out of the ordinary for Georgia, but this was a little bit different than what we'd seen from them to this point in the year. And I think, obviously, it's something they're going to want to do going forward with what they have up front and with Daijun Edwards playing the way he's playing right now. I also want to make sure we get aligned on this. We need to collectively, as a college football public, put some respect on Carson Beck's name, because he doesn't do it in the most flashy way. He doesn't have all those highlight plays where he's throwing no-look pass or he's off his back foot slinging it back across his body to somebody deep for a touchdown. Like, he's not going to be a SportsCenter top 10 guy every single weekend. But Carson Beck, in my opinion, embodies what Georgia football is at this point in time. Wait your turn, do your job, execute, no excuses. That's what he was yesterday. to a T. Brock Bowers is out. No excuses. 19 for 28, 315, 2 touchdowns. That's 67% completion percentage. Just does his job. He goes the right place with the football. Kirby Smart even talked about it in his post-game press conference. Hey, he's doing things within this offense that we don't really talk about from a stat sheet perspective. He's checking us to the right run play. He's getting us in the right protection. Like Carson Beck is the straw that stirs this drink offensively for Georgia. And we got to talk about it a lot more. And I'll say this too for Georgia fans. There's a couple of games coming up here now. Against Missouri, against Ole Miss, against Tennessee. To me, those are stages. Those are stages for Carson Beck to get, one, more national attention that he deserves. And two, if he plays to a certain level, I have to imagine that maybe little Heisman Trophy buzz would be in his future. But make no mistake, they had the steady hand yesterday in that game because of what 15 brought to the table. Did not look like a first-year starting quarterback to me. You've got to credit the development of Georgia with the way they have allowed him to get reps over the past couple of years. That's 100% true. You also got to give Carson Beck credit for being ready for the moment and meeting it head on like he did yesterday. No Brock Bowers, no problem. Now, you wish Brock Bowers was in the lineup. There's no way around that. But the way that 15 was dealing yesterday, like a shady pharmacist with that pill, like, dude is nice. And we need to, as a college football landscape, again, start looking at 15 when it comes to some of those postseason accolades. So, surprise, surprise, surprise. Georgia's inconsistent. They're starting slow. How'd they look against South Carolina? What they were down against Auburn? What's going on with Georgia? Is Georgia still Georgia? A lot of things were said early in the year. And right now, Georgia is once again trending towards playing their best football when it matters the most. Moving into November, I saw some real sense of urgency from them yesterday. And I don't know that wasn't there early in the year, but it's definitely there now. It's definitely something that is real in Athens right now. They were the aggressors. Defensively, we can't say enough good things about them. The way they played assignment sound, the way they reacted to the football. Again, the way you can trust everybody on the back end to do their matchups and trust that front seven to go and make Graham Mertz uncomfortable. They did that 100% yesterday. There was zero let the game come to us from Georgia, offensively or defensively. It was, we are the Hunters. We are the back-to-back national champs. We play to a standard. Play ball. There was no waiting for Florida, and there was nothing tricky about what Georgia did either, offensively or defensively. It was, we like our matchups. We're going to win our matchups. Best of luck to you. And that was the way it went. Like I said, they got Missouri, Ole Miss, and at Tennessee still on the docket. This is the toughest stretch for them on their schedule, but they are starting to take shape. And I titled this thumbnail here, Leaving No Doubt, for a reason. It feels like there is less and less of a reason for us to doubt Georgia. Like early on, it was, well, what's Carson Beck going to be? Y'all, Carson Beck's phenomenal. Very quietly, one of the best quarterbacks in the country. What's this defense going to be? They look solid to me. Are they a finished product? I don't think so. That's the scary part. 70% of the production is back from last year defensively, and they don't look like they're missing too much of a beat, even with all the guys that are not in this lineup from last year. Well, no Brock Bowers. What are they going to do? Ladd McConkey, step right up. Dominic Lovett, do your thing. Dejan Edwards, get downhill like it's nobody's business. Well, what about the staff? Mike Bobo and his Duffy. Feels like every single weekend they're dialing up hits. Defensively, same deal. We know what it is with Muschamp and Schumann. Like Kirby Smart, you think he's not going to have his team ready to play? And I'm not saying that Georgia's going to go undefeated and win the national title, though we did pick them to win the national title twice throughout this season. I'm just saying, if you have a reason to doubt Georgia, it's got to come to a certain spot you don't like them in, or come to something you're seeing within, the scheme that you specifically are seeing that a lot of us, for whatever reason, aren't seeing. Like, I'm not saying Georgia can't still lose a football game, but I'm saying for me, there is less and less about this team that we can question. So again, Georgia handling business 43-20 in a rivalry game. No problem for them as they keep on rolling. Going to be a lot of fun to watch what they do here the rest of the way. We'll talk about it. Big game this weekend. They got Missouri. We're going to give you our prediction on Tuesday, 11 a.m. Eastern. Subscribe here so you don't miss it. Follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Judy Piquel to stay with all that we got going on right here. Hey, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We're going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.